You often hear when relationships break down, people ask you what are the rights of cohabitees. Cohabitees do not have specific rights. If a relationship breaks down and the parties have been cohabitees, that's not to say that there aren't things that they can do to address financial issues, but they would need to turn to the law or regulations that govern that particular asset. So, for example, if cohabitees have a house that they own jointly together and there is a dispute with regards to that house, they would need to look to property law as opposed to family law. It's important for cohabitees when a relationship breaks down that they seek legal advice. The first thing that needs to be done when a party separate is to establish what the assets of that marriage are, and that can be an easy process or a very difficult process. Often women that have been in abusive relationships aren't aware of the finances of the marriage, and we're increasingly seeing that financial abuse is becoming recognised as a form of domestic violence. And so the first important thing to do is to look at the pot and to establish what the pot is. And in basic terms, everything owned by the parties jointly and separately goes into the pot for distribution, and that includes pensions, businesses and inheritance. As well as looking at what goes into the pot, you need to look at what goes out of the pot. And again, in basic terms, the debts of both parties form debts of the marriage. But the starting point is to work out what the assets are and what the debts are and look at what's available for distribution. It isn't about a 50-50 split. It's about dividing the assets and the income in a fair way so that both parties achieve equality moving forward. I would always look at ways in which you can maximise the income of the couple, and therefore you need to look at things like any tax benefits associated now with the parties being separated. Also, both parties' entitlement to state benefits must not be ignored, and often you would need to refer a client to an expert welfare benefits advisor to provide information on maximising income. I would always look at maximising the individual's income before you then look at the issue of maintenance. Legal advice should be sought as to the availability of legal aid to deal with legal issues, because obviously that maximises the money available to the parties. The law recognises that when a relationship breaks down, it can often be a very volatile time. Emotions and tensions are high. Sometimes things need to be done urgently, or things need to be done to ensure protection. There are lots of things that can be done to protect the individual, to protect children, and to protect the assets. An injunction basically is an order of the court that either forbids somebody from doing a certain thing or tells them to do a certain thing. So the standard injunctions that can be applied for in the breakdown of a relationship, there are two. A non-molestation order. Molestation isn't defined by the law because it's recognised that abuse can take many formats. It can be physical violence, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and as we spoke before, financial abuse. The other type of injunction order that can be applied for is an occupation order, and that's an order that tells somebody to do something. It would tell the other side to vacate the former matrimonial home, and once they have vacated it, it would forbid them from re-entering it. Orders can also be applied for in respect of children. Emergency orders can be applied for to prohibit the removal of a child from the country, from school, to prevent contact between one party and the child if that is felt necessary. And there are also emergency orders that can be applied for in respect of finances, to prevent the sale of a property, to prevent the removal of money from a bank account. You would always need to consult with a specialist solicitor that not only has the expertise but also has the resources to deal with emergency situations. At MSB, we have accredited specialists in child abduction, emergency financial remedies, and in domestic violence. The things that I've gone through today are just really the tip of the iceberg. The law can protect and the law can help women who are going through difficult times. But it's important that you do consult with solicitors and that you find a solicitor that you can trust.